All right, again, welcome everybody to this first town hall of 2024. For anyone that is joined here for the first time or will be watching the Deep Funding Town Hall recording for the first time, here's a little introduction to what you're watching. The Deep Funding Town Halls are organized for you as a place where you can contribute to the growth and the direction of the Deep Funding program, and therefore of course, to the SingularityNET ecosystem. Here you can learn all about the Deep Funding and its fantastic grant program, which funds builders who publish new AI services that support the growth of the SingularityNET platform, or that use existing AI services to build projects. Here you can also introduce and present your own project to the Deep Funding community and get feedback on what you're building. You can listen to other people's presentation about their AI-powered projects and what they're currently building. You can, of course, get the latest updates around the Deep Funding program. And most importantly, you can share your feedback and ideas on how to improve the program. And you can bring up any related questions, concerns, or discussion topics that are close to your heart. In short, it's a great place to learn and connect and network and feel part of the very amazing and welcoming community that we have. And our town halls happen bi-weekly, so it would be absolutely great to have you with us regularly. And with that, we're going to jump into what's happening today. And today, Jan is going to give you a quick overview over the Deep Funding 2024 operations and growth strategy. Then we're going to jump into the platform roadmap and give you some updates on the upcoming test round, which will be very, very exciting. And then, of course, we have time for community questions, feedback, and discussions. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Jan.
Thank you. And before we start on topic number 1, we have another thing, which is the test round. Let me also share my screen. There is a risk this particular town hall that I might be talking too much. So I would very, very, very much appreciate if you just interrupt me. For me, it's more important to have a meaningful discussion than reach the end of my PowerPoint or presentation that I created. So whenever you have a question or a remark, raise your hand or just speak up, and we can have a good conversation. Let me share my screen.
You might be close for that.
Screen sharing. Could you enable screen sharing for me, Judith?
You are muted, but if you just
I will.
On the 3 dots on top of my tile.
Yes, got it.
All right.
You should be good to go.
Yes. And here's the proof.
Nice.
Okay, so test round and roadmap 2024. It's fitting since we are at the beginning of the year, but it's not a one-time only exercise. We'll be revisiting it and probably updating it all the time. But first, before we go there, oh, wait a minute. Oh, the title is wrong. I was a few minutes late in this meeting because I was still updating this slide. So it should have the title Test Round. Not sure if you already saw the communications on this, but we are aiming for having a test round starting at the end of this month. The reason that we're doing this is that we're onboarding on our newly in-house created proposal portal. Before we had a third-party provider for the portal. But because there was a gap in what we need and what they could provide, we started already at the beginning of last year, so I think about a year ago right now, on creating our own portal based on WordPress, where also our website is. So the website and the portal will now, even more than before, become really one thing. And the main thing we changed in our new portal is the proposal flow, meaning that there's a much structured approach now for creating your proposal. And we also aim to support the proposers in that process by helping them with some work like creating milestones, doing the calculations for them, etc. So we thought it would be a good idea to do a small test round with just a limited number of proposers before going full out with maybe 100 or 200 proposals coming in, and then it would be quite awkward if we would find any issues. So the way we will do it, we have a form, a simple Google form, where anybody who would like to participate in this test round can just add a few fields. What's the title of your project? What's the amount that you expect to require or request? And a few more questions, very simple. And with that, based on that, we will select, or if there are more than the 10, 12 proposals that we target, we will select a number of them. And then we will give access to these proposals to our new portal. After that, everything is real. So the proposal is real. They have to go through the flow with a real proposal. We also hope for feedback from our community. It's just 10 proposals, so the time is shorter, the time span is shorter, but also the number of proposals is more limited. So we hope for some feedback, also with the new features that we have for feedback and ratings. And after that, we'll have a proper voting round on our voting portal where the entire community can participate. And in the end, we will have real awards for real teams. So everything is real, but the timelines are shorter than normally, and we will limit the number of candidates. After this round has finished, we will aim, depending on the results, of course. If there are huge issues, we will address them first. But after that, I hope we're good to start preparing for Deep Funding Round 4. So on this slide, you see the main metrics of the test round. We think about 10, 12 proposals. The number might depend, for instance, a little bit on the amounts that are requested. If everybody goes for the maximum amount, then maybe we'll have fewer, and if there are lower amounts, we might have a few more. Target dates. Well, these are target dates. We're talking about a test, so everything on this screen might still change if we think it's necessary for the test for whatever reason that we can't think about just yet. And first and foremost, the dates, because we are still developing some features. So 2 features that we're still developing or are almost finished developing is support for RFPs and the level 2 network. I'll get back to that later and I'll explain a little bit what it is. So if we have unexpected issues there, we might delay it for a week still, but I hope we will be able to target these dates. So the 22nd, the selected teams can already start preparing their proposal in the portal, but they won't be able to submit it to live yet. From the 29th of January, everybody here should be able to start seeing the first proposals being published. We'll have a week for publishing. So the first proposals might be visible on the 29th. And the others should be published in the rest of the week, or maybe all of them at 29th. I don't know. That would be ideal because then we'll have more time for feedback and such. So 1 week submission period, 1 week stable period where no new submissions can be created anymore, but we'll use that week to prepare the voting portal. Maybe do some reviews on whether the proposals are according to the conditions. Yeah, I think that's about it. And then at the end of the stable period, we'll have a week for voting. And then after that week, maybe we'll need a day or 2 days or whatever to do the proper calculations and come back with the actual real results of this very small round. So we aim to have 2 pools. Oh, Rafael.
Yeah, sorry, Jan, for interrupting. I'm not sure if you're going to say that, but we are not rewarding comments and as regular being in a test round, just to
Yeah, rewards always a hot topic and a complex thing, or have been in the past. I hope we will be able to solve that in the future. But because this is a small test round with just 10 proposals, it's not worth it. So we still count on you for giving valuable feedback to the proposers. But yeah, thank you for reminding me, Rafael. So 2 pools, one for new projects. It will have 150K rewards in total. And for each project, each proposal, we have a limit of 50K. So in one scenario, if 3 proposals with the maximum amount would be chosen, then there will be only 3 proposals winning. If the proposals that are chosen have a lower request, then there could be more selected or awarded. An ideation pool, we thought that for testing purposes, it would be helpful to have multiple pools in there. So that's why we also open up the ideation pool. It's 5K per proposal like the previous rounds as well. We are aiming for only 3 proposals or so in that pool. We hope the majority of the proposals will be in the new project pools. And because we only have 3 proposals, it has no use to put a maximum to that pool. So it depends on the amount of proposals and the voting outcome. So we hope after this test round, we have a better, we will get feedback from the testers that are in there that will help us improve the experience, maybe make some small tweaks, maybe we'll find out some serious issues. But the best way, we already did a test, right? We had people from the review team go through the flow and also the awarded teams pool, and no serious issues emerged. But the best way of testing it is in a real situation, which is why we do this real but short round. Any questions on this? So if you want to submit, there is a Google form. We'll put it out. We'll put it on the social channels once more. It's already there as well. And then you can submit your candidacy. Tommy.
Yeah, just a little clarification on the ideation pool. It says no fixed total, but it has a max of 3 proposals. Would that be 15,000?
Yeah, I could have added there the max is 15K. Yeah. Correct. Rojo.
Just a clarification, and perhaps this could be an announcement as well. Like, since you mentioned giving comments to these projects, obviously that will be done in the new platform. So perhaps shout out to join and how that process would be, and if there are some links. I already know the information, but perhaps for others and for the video.
Yeah, so please, anybody. Oh, I thought you had your hand up again, but yeah, please, anybody who's interested, just join. There are still open slots. The forum has been out for a few days, but maybe not with maximum communication lines open yet. So there are still a number of, I don't think we have any ideation proposal yet. So it would be cool to have an ideation proposal in. Tommy, you put one in. Oh, okay. We have one ideation proposal. I didn't look very recently, only this morning, so I don't know what happened in the meantime. But when I looked, there were still a few spots open. So, of course, even if we reach the 10, you can still submit. But we will at some point close it and then make a selection of all those that have submitted. So thank you for participation. Obviously, since it is a test round.
Where is the form to fill?
Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, where is the form, the link?
Maybe somebody can put it here in the chat. Maybe Judith or somebody else could. Okay.
Oh, yes.
You have it in.
Just already added. It's there.
We're planning also on our website to have a blog with this information and a little bit more information and a link to the forum. It was also posted already on our Telegram channel and Discord channel, but we're increasing the communication sounds about that. Volume, I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited about that and really looking forward to see how that will go. Oh yeah, what I was trying to mention is that since it is a test round, there might be bugs. So I expect some flexibility from the proposers in that area. Don't be mad if you find a bug. It's all part of the process. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll continue to the next topic.
Just Rojo, were you asking about the comments or the form to propose?
I was asking about the comments.
Okay. So yeah, you have to log in our website, the deepfunding.ai, and then go to the dashboard through the login, and you will see the active projects to access. Am I right, Jan? Sorry if I...
Yes, so our renewed portal, there is a login option. We didn't have that before. If you log in, you will land on the page, My Proposals. Well, actually, the title is Your Proposals. I'm not sure if we should keep that, but you can just go to the overview, New Projects, and there you can browse through the proposals, project proposals, and I think it will be intuitive enough. We have a new commenting section, which is nice, and we have a new reviews and rating session, which is very similar to what the peer reviewers were using, where you can rate each project on 4 dimensions, like feasibility, viability, desirability, and use for the platform, and add stars, and it will create an average of all reviews and ratings, and so on. What we will probably not do in this round is have a peer review, unless there are a number of awarded team members that will propose to do this, and they think they can do that in a week, then we might still have a try on that. But as it looks right now, I don't think we might not have that. But the reviews and ratings are open for the rest of the community. But yeah, I shared screens of this, etc. Before. By the way, there's also so what we're going into next are how did you call it, Judith? Growth for 2024, growth strategy.
Growth strategy and operation strategy.
Great.
Just based upon the amazing articles that you put out.
Yeah, so I created 3 blocks. I was totally bored during Christmas and New Year. So I created 3 lengthy blocks. One of them is about the roadmap, and you'll see a lot of screenshots in there. You can click them, it's thumbnails, you can click them for a larger version. That will already give you an idea of what you're about to see on the new proposal platform. So it's an extension on what is already there, because the code has already been published on our new platform, but the proposal flow is not open yet. Okay, so yeah, so I had 3 blocks. One was about purpose and goals of deep funding to start at the most foundational level. The other was about the roadmap based on where are we now, and then what is in the planning starting from now for 2024 and beyond, because it's quite a lengthy roadmap. And the third one was about our operations. And I think with these slides, I will go through them. So if you already read those blogs and memorized them, which I expect, of course, maybe this will all be boring. If you didn't, maybe there will still be some new things. But even if you know it by heart, then I'm looking forward to your contributions in this meeting and your insights. So again, feel free to interrupt at any time. So purpose and objectives. The purpose, the real purpose of deep funding is the purpose of SingularityNET, which is creating a beneficial artificial general intelligence, which is democratic, decentralized, and inclusive. I hope this is a little bit familiar to you. That's what we're all about. That's why Ben Goertzel started SingularityNET, and that's why we have our decentralized AI platform, and that's why we now have deep funding to try and grow our decentralized AI platform. And that is the first strategic goal. And I added the second strategic goal, and to some extent that was one of the reasons for writing this blog, because that is more something that emerged while we were working on deep funding, and may not, I have mentioned it a couple of times in different areas, but I thought it would be good to really put this forward as a second strategic goal. And that is creating a community of builders. That's something that I would really love to see emerging over time. It takes time, but I hope deep funding a year, 2, 3 years from now is not just anymore only about acquiring funding for your project and then go away again to develop and then come back when it's done. I hope we'll get some more dynamics in there. I hope we'll get dynamics of like-minded people that all buy into the purpose of deep funding and SingularityNET, and that want to help grow the decentralized AI platform, not because of the sake of the platform itself, but because it's important for humanity, and it's an opportunity for developers to come together and build something cool together. So I hope that we can create this supportive community, and you will see some of these things back in the roadmap. So if we're looking at the purpose and objectives, the purpose will not change until it has been achieved, which will at least take 6 months from now. I'm kidding there. The strategic goals are unlikely to be changed in the short term, but maybe in the long term they will change a bit, or there will one will be added. And then when we go one level lower, we come to the level of objectives, and those objectives might have a higher chance to be changed, or one could be added, or one could be removed, etc. So if we look to the objectives that are derived from these 2 main strategic goals, proposal, feedback, and rating, we already discussed it a little bit. It's an ongoing endeavor to make the best proposal surface. And we need community feedback to do that. We need help from everybody to give their feedback, input, ratings, etc., so that the best proposals surface, and that way the best proposals, whatever that may be, have a higher chance of being awarded, so that we can increase the value of the whole program. The other one objective is growing the community. We have a very loyal and capable community, but it would be great to grow it further, so that we can also have more dynamics and see more new faces and have more new input and new insights. Facilitate effective communication, so that also relates to that community of builders. If we want to be a community, we need to be able to communicate. There are many ways of doing that by discussing proposals, but we also have our social media channels, and maybe we'll have other ways in the future. Exchange of resources and tasks and skills, also related to the community of builders, and that could take the shape of a marketplace for jobs and tasks, but I'll get back to that later as well. And finally, if we want to have that community of builders, we need a way for knowledge sharing and educating each other. So that's actually not really on the roadmap yet. It's a little bit further away, but I hope we'll find a proper way to facilitate that as well. Any questions so far on the purpose and the objectives?
Curtis, do you want to ask your question that you just dropped in the chat?
I don't have my
actually I could, sorry, Jan, I just read it on the thing. The form itself says from all candidates we will pre-select, so it is open to all and then assessed later. Sorry about that, guys.
All good.
Yeah, it's open for all, and because it's testing and we don't know exactly what we will get, we want to have a good collection of proposals. Maybe some with a higher value and some with a lower value, maybe a difference in topics and so on. Maybe a few that are very technical and a few that are more business oriented. So it's not just first come, first serve. We'll make a proper selection. But if everything is the same, then probably you have a better chance of being selected when you're early on. But we'll do a proper selection on that. So even if we have 10, 12, 15 proposals in, that's absolutely no reason not to submit. So keep them coming.
And also, Jan, if I may, the proposals can be reapplied in round 4, so would be a nice display for you to submit now and start thinking about.
Yeah, also a good point. There's no risk involved, basically. The only limitation in this round is that we have this maximum value of 50K. Should your project not be awarded, then it's totally fine to resubmit the exact same proposal in Deep Funding Round 4. Normally, we frown a little bit on that. I don't want to encourage people to submit the exact same proposal multiple times. It will just create noise. If you do significant changes to a proposal, you always can. But in this specific case, if you think you have a great proposal and it didn't get the attention that it needed for whatever reason, then you can just submit in Deep Funding Round 4. Okay. Anything?
Can we have more than one submission from one person?
No, for this test round, not. I think we want to have diversity, and having one person test with multiple proposals, I don't think that will add a lot to the testing experience. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay.
And
Anything
Walter
else?
just dropped in the chat, can we have till Monday to propose, please? Need to coordinate within the team before committing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we set an exact date for that. I did have this schedule. Obviously, I think so from the top of my head, the 22nd would be the start. And I think the week before that, so that would be the 15th or something, would be the end date for submission. To be honest, I don't need a whole week to make that selection. So Monday is perfectly fine. Let's agree that right now, that until the end of Monday is perfectly fine. And we might even extend it for 1 or 2 days if we think that it would be great to have a few more proposals in. But for every practical purpose, please, Monday at the end of the day would be a good target date if you want to be sure that your proposal or your candidacy will be evaluated.
No, also, hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, Mauro.
Yeah, also to add that if you love the product, if you love the experiments and the project of Deep Funding, please reach out developers, reach out people who can have great ideas that improve the ecosystem itself. So we need the community, not only from submitting proposals, also to do this job of spreading the word and send to recommended people the form and to be part of this testing round. It's really, really important. So that is a shout out to the community itself to help us to spread the word and spread the form to people that it's really valuable and can add real value to.
Yeah, we're always open for suggestions. We already have a very long list of ideas that we want to do. So before you suggest, please have a look at the roadmap that we will also address later on. But yeah, so especially from the testers, we'll organize some feedback afterwards, first in a forum and then in a meeting like this, where we will ask the testers to provide us with feedback. So we love to hear from you, both very concrete things like I had a bug here or I couldn't complete my task, but also things like I don't like the look and feel, or maybe it was a little bit hard or whatever. So that's all part of this this stage. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. Thank you, Mauro. Then let's go to the topic that I addressed in another blog. One moment. My presentation is a little bit slow. So there is this book, was proposed to me by Kenrick. And it was proposed to Kenrick by other people, and it was called oh my god, now I forgot the name. Pro-social. Maybe it had a longer title. I don't have it here, otherwise I would show it, but I thought the book gave a very good overview of what a successful community would need. So it starts with the idea of the tragedy of the commons. If you know that phrase, it's older, and the idea is that if you have a space, for instance, a space in a town, a parking lot or whatever, and nobody would own it, it would be from everybody. The idea was that it would be a mess. And the way it used to work before is that you have this ground with where shepherds would come from different villages, and they would have their sheep grazing, and that would all go well until all the communities will become too prosperous, and the herds of sheep would grow, and then at some point that that common ground would become too small for all the sheep. So what happens then? According to the tragedy of the commons, it would be a mess, and it would be a fight or whatever, because nobody would take responsibility for it, because it's owned by no one. But Eloionor Ostrom did research to these kind of situations also in the past. And she found out that this is not the case, that actually these villages also in the past, in these environments and cultures related to agriculture or hunting and fishing and so on, were very well capable of treating that common ground with mutual with a shared responsibility, basically. And based on her studies, she came to 8 core design principles that will define the success of that joint responsibility. And you can use those 8 core design principles for any successful community. So if you would apply those 8 design principles, the chances of getting a well-functioning community are very high, actually. When I read the book, I saw a lot of recognition in these things, so I liked it a lot. So many of these things are common sense by themselves. But I think the magic is in adding them all up and reviewing all of them. So I won't go over all the things that I wrote in the blog. If you're interested, then you can read it. What I did, I went over these 8 CDPs, and I looked at each of them from 3 perspectives. Because in SingularityNET, I think, or in Deep Funding, you could say that we don't have a single community, but we have multiple communities. You could see the wider ecosystem, everybody that votes, as a wider community of Deep Funding. But you could also have see the community of builders or the awarded team as a separate community. And then there are the operational circles that we are creating right now, which is yet a different community. So I did an analysis of these, where we are with each of these CDPs over these 3 layers of the community, and gave my feedback in what we have done and what we are planning to do. But let me first go through them very quickly. I don't want to bore you to death with this, so I'll just go through it quickly. The important foundation is that any community needs to have some shared identity and purpose, because otherwise you're not a community. People will continuously come in and out. You don't know who belongs to the community and who doesn't. And then it's very hard to establish any rule whatsoever. So having some kind of boundary there, shared identity and purpose, is important. I think we have that, but I won't comment right now on Deep Funding too much, but just go through the principles as is. Equitable distribution of contributions and benefits. So it's about fairness. Everybody should have the idea that what they get out of it is balanced with what they put into it. So there should be no slackers, people who get a lot of benefits but don't put any contributions in, or people that put a lot of contributions in but don't get any benefits. So that should be balanced in a way. I'm very tempted to start talking about how we address all these things in Deep Funding, but like I said, I don't want to bore you to death any more than I'm already doing. Fair and inclusive decision making. Obviously, if you want to have ownership, if you want people to have ownership over a community or over anything, then you need to involve them in decision making, which is why we are here today as well. Monitoring agreed behavior. So if you have all that in place, you need to have some checks and balances. You need to be able to see what's going on. I mentioned the slacker the other in CDP2. If there are 10 people that are working their ass off and 2 people that are doing nothing, if you want to do something with that reward-wise, you need to monitor that. So there is a need for monitoring and reporting. And then related to that also is graduated responding to wanted and unwanted behavior. You shouldn't get your head chopped off just because you missed one session or whatever. It's important that if you make a small error or whatever, you get a small, well, I don't want to use the word punishment, but I can't think of anything else right now. And similarly, if you do something right, if you do something that is desired, you should get a reasonable reward for that. But there should be a balance in all these things. If you make a great contribution, then maybe you should get a great reward and vice versa. So graduated responses here is important. Fast and fair conflict resolution. So even if you have all that implemented, there will be some conflicts. There will be people who don't agree with each other. They can't come to a mutual conclusion. There should be somebody that will be able to bring this to a fast resolution of which people have the idea that it's fair and conclusive. 7, authority to self-govern. That also comes back to ownership. If you want people to have a feeling of ownership over the community, they should have the idea that they have impact, that they can have impact on the direction that this community is taking. And then 8 is a special one. Because 1 till 7 are all about working in a group together. And 8 is about scalability. So where a group consists of multiple individuals, you could have a bigger ecosystem that consists of multiple groups. And then all of these other CDPs are valid, but then on a higher level, on a group level. And I can imagine you could even have multiple levels like that. So these are the CDPs. And if we would be able, as Deep Funding community, to implement all of these and act on them, I think this would be a great place to be. And I think that would make it very attractive for builders and proposers and community members to belong to this community because they have agency. They can change something. They know that if they contribute, they will be rewarded. They know that if somebody is trying to game the system, that he will be penalized. They know that it's fair. And we are bound by this shared sense of purpose. So I did this exercise, yeah. And this is just my very subjective okay, thank you, Walter. The CDPs were from the book, which were a practical translation from Ostrom. And to be honest, I haven't read Eloionor Ostrom yet. I should do that at some point, but it will be a long time until I have the time for that, I'm afraid. So the CDPs are based on the book Pro-Social. Actually, I was under the impression that they were also stated by Ostrom herself, but I didn't really do that research. So this is my analysis, color-coded on where we are with deep funding. I could go into each of these cells, but I won't. I didn't only look at where we are today, but I also looked at more or less concrete initiatives that we are willing to take on the community. And yeah, when you look at it, it's clear that the builders, the community of builders, that layer needs most attention. Whereas the general community and the circles are okay and are on a good trajectory, I would say, on a good foundation. And some of these things we're just starting out. We're very early days here. But it's good to have this on our radar and to keep checking this. And so actually thinking about that, I think it would be very good if we have these CDPs as a common thing between us. And that if anyone at any point sees something derailing, that you will address that. And you can address me. You can say, hey, Jan, you bought into these CDPs, but now I'm seeing this process here, and I think it's not aligned. So it will also give us a kind of language to talk about things that are going right and things that could be improved. If after a year we think that for whatever reason this doesn't apply to our specific ecosystem, we'll move on. But from where I am today, I think this is a very helpful, checklist, at least, and a helpful framework, I should call it. Whew, like I said, there's a risk of me talking too much today. Any questions on this so far? Well, then the only thing I can do is just continue talking, right? But, surprise, surprise. I don't know. This is taking so long. Yeah. So I think this would be a good moment to ask the existing circles what they're doing. So we have these three, at least I identified these three layers. Could be that in the future we'll have more layers, but the wider community, the community of builders, and the operational part, the circle. So what we're trying to do right now, for those who are not aware, we're trying to scale our operation out. So we need to grow. Last Deep Funding Round 3, we saw a huge growth in the amount of proposals and awarded teams, which means that we also need to grow our operations. And instead of just hiring new people as a staff, the idea is, what I would love to see is the community more involved, also in hands-on operational work. And in order to accomplish that, we are creating this circle structure. And some of these circles were already, as they say, avant la lettre. So they already became into existence before we ever talked or thought about circles. And others are more recent. So we have the review circle. I think the review circle started in Deep Funding Round 2. And it was a very ad hoc thing at that moment. But since then it has grown and they are maturing, and we become more and more dependent on this, what is now called a circle. The focus group is after last year's summer, we started that as a mediating organization between the community and the internal staff of Deep Funding. And the marketing circle is brand new, but very promising. And then finally, I am taking some initiative to create an awarded team circle. But where marketing, focus group, and review circle have a clear need from our side, that is until certain level also the case with the awarded team circle, but in the case of the awarded teams, I'm hoping more to learn about what they want and what they need. So this is a two-way street, I would say, yeah, also with the other circles, but a little bit different and more with the awarded teams. So we'll see how that will work out. So if there are people, I'm not sure if for every circle we have somebody who is prepared to do this, but we just thought about it earlier today, to be honest. I know there's somebody from the review circle who would like to present what they're doing and what they have been done, and I think maybe tell a little bit about what their expectations are for the coming year. And I think, Rojo, this is your call to action.
Yep. As you said, we got this notification today. So nothing crazy prepared, but I mean, this is going to be a chat as usual. That's how we do it kind of in the Deep Funding community. So can I get maybe sharing permissions? Is that possible?
You should be good to go.
All right. Right. So today I chose a framework that was introduced to me by the great head of. And this framework goes as, it basically has 4 questions. I probably messed up the questions, but anyway, I mean, I thought these are good questions to answer, so let's go for it. So first, let's start with the slogan that I just came up with a couple of hours ago, which is Deep Funding Round Circle, by the community for the community. Sounded cool, so why not? So who is, you know, Deep Funding Round Circle? It's basically community members, and you probably know all of us, if not most of us, if not all. And you know, we're interested in SingularityNET. Most of us started with SingularityNET. Then this thing popped up out of nowhere called Deep Funding. They were like, huh, interesting. And then we started getting involved, and you know, we got hooked in basically by just how engaged in these discussions and the people, how great most of people here, if not all, are. We're basically, well, I put here Deep Funding platform, but we're newly coming into Deep Funding platform, and we're getting to use it more and more since it's going to be basically doing the whole process of proposals and all these things. Again, we're on Discord. That's where most of us were in the beginning. We do a lot of our operations on D-work, and a lot of the chatting and the communication with the teams, and you know, team communications and like proposals and all happen or happens at Mattermost. Why? So why Deep Funding Round review circle? First thing is that proposals need to be reviewed to make sure that they match the guidelines. And if the community doesn't do it, then Deep Funding has to do it. And as Jan iterated more than once, Deep Funding has chosen that alley of going or decentralizing towards giving the community more power in terms of the processes, rather than just like taking everything and making all the decisions and so on. Comments, for example, especially rewarded comments, like these needs to be reviewed. And well, not necessarily. There are some projects that will automate the process, but as we saw with the best contributors rewards, we still had to do some manual work and manual check-in, which was done by reviewers. We have things like contracts that will probably be mostly automated away as well. But in this round, it had to be done by reviewers, looking at the contracts, making sure that the information makes sense. Milestone deliverables. If you're a funded proposer, you're basically delivering milestones, right? So who's going to review that? It's basically the review circle. I mean, otherwise it will be again Deep Funding, which will go towards centralization rather than decentralization. When the one question, well, that's simple. That's very simple to answer. It basically all the time, basically from the beginning to the end of every single Deep Funding round. And last thing I would like to say, and I know I didn't include a lot of data or anything. Probably you can ask if you're interested. But yeah, this is an open call to join us. If you're interested in reviewing, let us know. Again, Deep Funding round 4 is coming. The test round is coming, so we'll probably need you. Thank you.
I was muted. Thank you, Rojo. Great summary. And thank you, Review Circle, for the absolutely great and marvelous work. You're working very hard. And like I said, we're relying more and more on you. And that will only increase in the future. The second one I have here is and I'm doing it actually in order of how shall I call it, age or lead time, how long ago they have been established. So the Review Circle was the first. The second one was the focus group. Now there are, I think I saw two people from the focus group. I'm not sure if any of you is ready and capable of just saying a little bit about what we have been doing as focus group and what the ideas are maybe going forward. So that would be either Ubio or Tommy. And if not,
Tommy, would you
Go for it, Ubio.
my network is terrible, that's why I wanted to do it.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I'm saying my network is terrible, that's why I'm suggesting if Tommy can take.
Okay.
I'm back in the library, so it's only so long before they come shush me. The focus group has been interesting for the last few months. Jan formed it. We have 5 community members. Ubio is one of them. Vanny and a couple of other guys that are younger than us. And basically, we look at everything that's going on in deep funding, and we analyze it. We ideate over it. And I think the best thing that we started, and this was Vanny's suggestion, brilliant, she's just brilliant, but we started listening sessions. So it was in last year, it was every other week, opposing to this deep funding town hall. We would have a listening session for the proposers, for the voters, and it just opened up what the community wanted, what their concerns were. There was a big hubbub about the comments, and we listened to the community and we sorted it out before we established the rewards for the special commentators. So going through to 2024, I see us working on the same system, expanding a little bit. This special test of the new platform is going to be exciting, and the focus group will be there looking in all cracks and crevices and crannies, and most importantly for the community, we're looking for your feedback. So please chime in, talk to us, and tell us what your thoughts are, what we need, what we're not thinking about. It's an experiment, and we like to break things when we experiment. We haven't so far. We've been doing good, but tell us what we're missing. We really need that. Thank you very much for being part of this. I'm sorry I'm talking low, but they shush me in this library. So
you're very brave, Tommy. Authority, I would say. Just go talking and presenting in the library. Thank you for that summary. Anything you would like to add, Ubio?
Yeah, I wanted to add for this year, we are looking at opening office hours for to have one-on-one discussion with the community. So that's one of our plans for this year, to see how we can have that interpersonal relationship with the community, and to allow us to be able to get feedback in a different form. So when that comes up, we would like to see the community engaging, and just like Tommy said, we just want to hear from you. That's just what we do. We want to hear from you.
Great, great. Hence the listening sessions, and the name of the town halls we call listening sessions. I understood, I think Judith told me that some were a little bit confused, thought that you had to listen to us. That's not the case. These times are really about us listening to you. So here I'm talking all the time. In the listening sessions, actually, I try to shut up most of the time. So
it's pretty impressive in the listening session if you haven't been there. Jan actually is quiet. He sits and he really does listen. A whole different side of his persona. So please join us.
Yeah, it taught me really to pretend that I'm listening very good. So,
but usually during town halls, you're not even talking. It's a lot of, we have so many breakout rooms. I mean, it is the community talking during town halls as well.
Very true. Like, I'm also asking for your feedback right now and your interruptions, etc. Like I said, it's not important for me to reach the end of the PowerPoint or whatever. Having meaningful interactions and insights is much more important. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. Otherwise, I could say, go read the blog, right? So the third one, the new one, is the marketing circle. Is there anybody here? I see a few people who would like to say a little word on the marketing circle.
Hey, I could take the word if I can. So I'm now on vacations with family at the end of the world. Let me see if it works. Can you hear me?
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone. Well, first of all, really glad to be here. Well, 3 months ago, we started with the initiative of the marketing circle itself to start to working on the communication of Deep Funding. Nowadays, there is a whole team of 5 people that is open to anyone that wants to do some task and help in this initiative. To be honest, I could not be more glad to the team I have. Indeed, it's Judith, that is a specialist of community events. There's Crystal, who is great in content creation. There's Luke, as the mastermind behind the branding settings of Deep Funding, and also Juan Pablo, a great friend of all times, who is great executive task. And also it's me doing the task. We are trying to figure out how it works, but it's going really, really great. The team has done amazing things indeed. I want to thank Judith, because it was a lot of unknown things regarding the town hall, and she take the lead and made this town hall today with great participation to be the first town hall of the year. We are in January, and people see with family and going on vacation, at least in this part of the world, and she take the lead and made this town. To be honest, I could not be more glad for the team I have, for the whole support of the foundation, and we are trying to build a super great team that holds with it and meets the expectations of the marketing circle itself. Indeed, the main idea is that this circle is decentralized and open for everyone. So if everyone wants to participate, they will be welcome. So that's all for my part. I don't know if anyone of the team wants to add some words, but again, really, really glad, really, really excited, to be honest, in this initiative. Again, the team is just amazing. We're really great backgrounds, and until now, they've always complete my expectations. So really excited about this. And if anyone has any feedback or for example, want to spread the word about one specific message, I don't know, from the focus group, from the other groups, please let me know, and we will try to figure out a strategy of communications from the official social medias to have with that activities, campaigns, etc. So let us know. There is also a feature of project consultancy that will be paid by our treasury to help people with their own projects to get more marketing and get users. When it's launched, Pablo or Judith wants to add something, but to be honest, really.
Thank you, Mauro. There were a few glitches there, but I think the message was clear. Tommy, you have your hand up. Do you dare to?
Yeah. The guard just went by. A question for Mauro. Since you're marketing, I know they're one of our partners or, joint venture here, but I don't have a SingularityNET hat. Can marketing help me there, Mauro?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I will help
it was
him.
my glitches or okay, something.
That's the answer you can give. I didn't hear it either.
Yeah, I will help Tommy here, avoiding him to go to the jail in this case, because the security guy was there. So he's asking Mauro, we talked about this already before, about hats and t-shirts and so on with Deep Funding brand, and if you can help him to have those articles.
I was trying so hard to pretend that I didn't understand it, but now it's all out in the open. So now we have to answer it.
Well, to be honest, regarding if we have a solid document that we wrote about all the rules of this new structure and this new team. So is there a budget allocation for branding or merchandising, but it must be for a specific aspect. It needs to be pre-approval by the team itself, and also you need to figure out who provider you want to hire. For example, in my country, there is a great provider, and I could hire him, and once you have the invoice, we as a team will send the amount. It's not too much, and it's only with a specific purpose and with pre-approval of the team. But there is another proposal, and you have a proposal for merge. We can help with the designs. We can give some ideas. We can help in the investigation of providers and suppliers of that merge. But the main idea is not just give away merch as a shop. It's just for a specific purpose. For example, you're hosting a workshop, or you are doing an ideathon, or etc. So yeah, in that area specifically. So we will not help providing merch. We can help just for some fun of that merch, that it's always needs to be focused on a specific goal and pre-approval by the team. This is really, really important. I hope you're hearing me, because I'm having a lot of Wi-Fi connection issues.
Mauro, I think for our most dedicated community members, we can make merch happen. No problem.
Yeah, there's always a mess with the shipping. Indeed, in my whole days in the summit, with the summit Mexico, we have from the one foundation, from the Cardano Foundation, indeed, the merch stuck with the government regarding shipping. So that's a really important issue, and that's why we decide this way. But of course, as Judith said, the specific topics we can figure it out. But there is a long things of compliance related to this aspect that must to be figured out and accomplished until to say yes to everything.
So bottom line, you don't have your head yet, Tommy, but we spent 15 minutes with 20 people talking about it. So that tells something. And nobody here thinks that you don't deserve it. You deserve a whole stack of hats. You only need one. Okay. Well, you have children and okay. Let's move on. It's already 9:15 and we haven't started on the roadmap yet. There was also, I think, originally at least on the agenda, Judith, the idea to brainstorm a little bit. What do you want me and Judith, but everybody to do? I think it's okay to spend to at least spend a couple of minutes on the roadmap. But I can either do it very quickly or take a little bit, if you want to do something else afterwards, or go through it a little bit more slowly and give you more opportunity to react.
What do you mean by slowly? Are we talking half an hour or what's the...
I haven't tried it, so I don't know. But 20 minutes is quick, is done quickly. So if you want to have a brainstorm on town hall topics or another thing, then I can try to go through it quickly.
We don't have to have the brainstorm live. I can also ask via the social media channels. And reach out to people what they would like as topic for the next town hall, or if they have any breakout rooms in mind. And I can also DM a lot of people regarding that. So we don't have to have the brainstorm in the live session if you need some more time on the roadmap.
All right. I will continue in a natural pace and see where we will end up with that. And please, again, if there's anything, please feel free to interrupt. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so the awarded team circle is still being created. There are no clear representatives of that yet, so we'll have to address that the next time, hopefully. Roadmap vision. I created a few slides with a diagram. Just quickly. So don't think this is the be all and end all of what we are creating. It's just to explain the high level picture a little bit. So what you see here is the Deep Funding portal as the center of the thing. And what we have is a web front end. They are more or less the same, they're integrated. But with web front end, I mean things like blogs and a homepage and that kind of thing that don't have deep functionality related to it. And with the Deep Funding portal, I mean everything that is related to proposals, basically. So creating a proposal, submitting a proposal, reacting on proposals, searching for proposals, looking at past proposals or awarded projects, and see how they're doing, following them up, etc., etc. So that would be, and communication with the teams also would be part of the portal. So the portal right now is the beef, is really the biggest chunk. And the web front end is something we put most of our effort to the portal, and there's also still a lot of things to do. There are a number of things on the web frontend that I really would like to improve, but it's a question of resources and priorities. Backend processes is something that I would like to get started on, but we haven't started on that yet. So it's, for instance, building in support. It's basically building in support for Rafael and the review team, if you want. Supporting the creation of contracts, approval of milestones, sending and publishing of progress reviews by the team, etc. Those kind of things. Then in that portal environment, we have projects. And the projects are created by teams, obviously, sometimes a team of one, sometimes a team of multiple people. And what is new right now, what we didn't have before, and actually that is the stuff that we are developing at this very moment, is what is being called by our UX designer, Craig, a level 2 network. Meaning that where in our previous portal, if you wanted to tell anything about your team, it would be just information on a page and you could write something about your team. Right now, what we want to do is allow the project leads who are submitting the proposal to invite team members. So after the proposal is submitted, they can invite team members. They can also write something themselves about their team members. They can invite them. And each team member will also have their individual profile that they own themselves. So there will be a small part that can be determined by the project lead who can tell something about what this particular person is doing in this particular project. And you will also be able to see what else this person is capable of by his own worth. So that's the level 2 network. And yeah, I think that's a really cool feature, which will also prepare us for something that I would like to see happening at some point, is a kind of jobs marketplace. Already did some very early experiments in our previous portal when we just started, but was not structured enough and we didn't get any traction. Right now, I'm counting on the awarded teams to help me think and brainstorm and feed me with what you are needing in a job. So jobs marketplace is for me, any project that needs work done could post that. And any team member or community member that thinks who is capable of that job could apply to that, or could just submit their profile and say, hey, I'm very good at marketing or UX or AI development or whatever. Of course, there are open marketplaces for this as well. But I think and that is why I started with the purpose and goals and objectives. I think this aligns with the idea of building a community of developers. I think it would be great that we also have carved out our own marketplace that is dedicated to jobs and tasks related to deep funding. There are some things that are being ideated upon right now that might get a place and that might be somehow related. So one thing that I'm thinking, and this is very recent, what I'm thinking about is that such a jobs or task marketplace could be very transactional. And I would love to see also more communication going on. I would love to have some way of people submitting great ideas and other people discussing them, and then maybe a third group of people saying, hey, we would like to adopt that idea and create it into a project. So for that we need ideation and communication, and we also have this system recently in recent round of creating RFP, request for proposals, and we're working now on having those RFPs also being owned and created by community instead of by SingularityNET. And all these things could tie into each other. So an RFP can be posted on the jobs marketplace, so people can then, or teams can apply to create a proposal for it. Maybe individuals could volunteer or get paid to create these RFPs themselves. And around these RFPs, and maybe before we land on an RFP, there could be an area where we could ideate and think together what is most needed for deep funding. So RFPs are a way to give more direction to what we are developing instead of open pools. It's not one or the other, both will coexist. But maybe it could be that in the future RFPs get more important than they are right now, but that is to be seen. In any case, it's a way to have more targeted development. And that targeted development would be great if it's the result of something that all of us together have discussed and agree upon. If we think this would be a great feature to have, then we can create an RFP around it and invite teams to come with proposals to build the things that we have ideated upon. So yeah, in my perspective, all of these could somehow tie together, and how that puzzle will be made exactly remains to be seen. Oh, yeah, knowledge sharing, that's even further away. I haven't really ideated on that. Might be some kind of wiki or something else, I don't know, or a knowledge graph. Actually, that would be a very good a way of doing that. But that's something we need to. So actually, a knowledge graph, a content knowledge graph, is the first community-driven RFP that is being worked upon right now. So maybe actually that might turn at some point into an area where we can share our knowledge together. Next, yeah, about the job marketplace, just to share with you where in an ideal world I would see this going, is we could have this deep funding jobs marketplace. But probably we will use something that is already there. We won't start from scratch building that. So we will use a platform. We have 3 partners already that have such a marketplace. So it's a question of selecting the one that best fits our purposes. But we could make an area in that existing marketplace for deep funding. And I can imagine that if we have such a marketplace, that other grant programs might use the same thing. And of course, the first one that we're all thinking about is Cardano Catalyst. And so it would be great to have a similar marketplace for Catalyst and for deep funding. And then whenever you post a job, you would have the choice. Will I only post it in deep funding marketplace, or will I post it in deep funding and Catalyst, or everywhere? And yeah, that way it could scale, and you can throttle a little bit how many reactions you get and the kind of reactions you would get. Of course, the same for posting profiles, etc. So that's just a vision right now, and something that we are ideating on. Any questions so far? Then let me continue. So this is just a list. I'll just pour myself some tea because I get a sore throat of all that talking. You wouldn't believe it, Tommy, but it happens. So I've prioritized the thing. They are prioritized by, I would say, urgency or need, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will be developed in that order, because if we can do things in parallel, it may change. If for some things our internal team would need to do stuff, it will probably be in sort of this order. It might change. But if we could leverage an RFP, or have an RFP and then leverage community involvement, then maybe something like the portal, which is now at the very bottom, could be brought forward and could actually become something we start on very early. So that is that about the ordering of this. So structured AI service data would be high priority, but it's kind of a minor thing. Right now, we have one field in the proposal flow. What services are related to your proposal, and I would like to have them separated and more structured. Meaning that if a team has one service they are building, they can state that. But if they would have 3 or 7 services they want to build as part of their proposal, they need to add each of them separately. So that takes a little bit of work, but once we have that, it will help the review team to assess the work that's being done, because in the current situation, it's not always crystal clear what is a service and what not, and what exactly was promised around services or not, or will something actually be a service on the marketplace, or will it be 2 services or whatever. So structuring this better will also make it easier to validate milestones. But more importantly, we can use it on the website. We can show it on the project space, and we could make a dashboard out of it. We could say, these are all the services that are in the pipeline of being developed, and this is where they are, what their status is at this time and place. So it will give more information on what is coming. Then medium priority right after this. So town hall updates. I think we can improve on the publicity of town halls and show more what we are doing, not only in the next town hall, but also the one in 2 weeks and the one in 4 weeks and the one in 6 weeks. So create some kind of scheduled agenda. Have one place on the website where everybody always can go to see the latest information about town halls and schedules and agendas and so on. And then also where they can find back previous town halls. That is already on the website, but we would bundle all of that together. So basically give more attention and publicity to the town halls on the website, because I think they deserve it. And I think that way we can even get a broader and wider public to the town halls. So that is front end. Automated project status updates. We're sending now monthly surveys to each team where we ask like 5 or 6 simple questions. How are you doing? What are your challenges? Do you have any needs? That kind of thing. Should be able to answer that in 5 or 10 minutes usually. But the feedback is not always great, and there's a lot of work. So we want to make that feedback from the teams more visible on the website in different ways. And in order to do that, it would help to automate both the sending, both the survey itself, and how the survey is displayed on the website. Automated contract generation. Everybody who was involved in round 3 knows that, understand that there's work involved there. There are a number of steps. With the new portal, we expect the data that will come out of that, the Deep Funding Round 4 actually, will be much more structured to start out with already, much better shape. And that would open the possibility instead of having a lot of manual operation to generate this contract already, which would speed up the process hugely and would unload, offload the review team a lot. Milestone delivery and approval process is related to that. It would be the next stage. So when we have all the milestones in the contract, ideally, we would have a kind of workflow, online, offline, where project teams can say, hey, I finished this milestone 2. This is my deliverable. Add that somewhere with a link or whatever. Push a button, and then the review team, somebody in the review team would receive it and would dispatch it to the right person to review, etc., etc., and have also proper status updates back on the website. So to have further automation in that process. Communication tab would be in the portal, in the My Projects page. Previous portal communication was really hard. Right now, we already have a big improvement because we can address individual proposers directly. We couldn't do that in our previous portal. At some moment, it would be great not only to send notifications by mail if there is if you got feedback on your proposal, or if you get an angry mail from Rafael or something, but also have that clearly organized on the website, on your proposal page itself. Title: Import-Export Data. Further in the future, we would like to have the whole portal API enabled, and that should go two ways. So, like I said, milestones, for instance, can go out and status updates can go in again. There are other processes where we can have that reporting, dashboards, etc. At the first stage, it will probably be a simple CSV export. Yeah, so I'll just continue at this space and page. Medium low priority improvements. Dashboards are already mentioned. We can make a dashboard of all services, but we could also make a dashboard of projects, where they are in their progression, how many milestones they have and which are completed. How many projects have been completed in full and are available on the marketplace. And we could also have overviews from individual contributors. So people, what projects has a certain person been involved in, for instance. So there's a lot more we can do in terms of information. And if we have that API or that Excel thing, this is also something that could very well be done outside of the platform, maybe by an RFP, by one of you, perhaps. Overview of contributions per participant. Yeah, that's related to that dashboard of contributors, I suppose. Would be great. So if we have that level 2, that you can browse all the people that have been involved in teams, and you can and maybe also regular community members, and you get some overview of what each person has been doing on the website, maybe a reputation score or a reputation score per round or whatever. Oh, contributors on the previous, I forgot, that was actually about reputation. That was more about giving a dashboard on per round, on which people are most active and give the most valuable or most quantitative, the most contributions. And we would do that per round to ensure that we start with a blank slate every time again, so that everybody has a chance to be a top contributor there. Integrating community engagement scores, a different term for reputation scores in the platform. So one thing, and that has been approved, and we're having in-depth discussions on that, by the way, on reputation, is creating a reputation score from the things that are happening on the platform and other sources. But we can also do it the other way around. If we have reputation scores, we can also use that to on the platform. For instance, make the contributions of people with a high reputation more visible in one way or another. There's a whole world behind that, what we can do also algorithmically, but that's the basic idea behind it. I think this is the last one, so almost there. Lower priority, but not less important, but less urgent, I would say. Blog. I would like all these circles to create their own blogs and not have me or Rafael in the middle, but be able to do that completely on their own accord. One thing we already implemented recently, like last week or something, it's now possible to add comments at the bottom of a blog. So talking about communication and building this community, this is just one other small part of that puzzle. And I would like to invite you all, if you read a blog, then just add what you think about it, because that way we can have those communications more targeted and related to a topic, instead of doing it on Discord or on Telegram, where everything will be in one big timeline. So yeah, it's small, but potentially a strong feature. So I hope to see a lot of content being generated there. We have some LLM things. This might also tie into the knowledge graph RFP that is being developed right now. So it would be great to have a knowledge graph that could summarize proposals and compare proposals, for instance. And there's an LLM here also. One thing I was thinking about, you have these services that will summarize videos for you. We have a lot of videos, like this one will generate a video also, but I don't think there will be too many people who will who haven't been in this meeting and then want to review this particular recording from beginning to end, which will be almost 2 hours. So having a good summarization feature there would be helpful. Team member profile pages, so have more elaborate pages where you can tell more about yourself, showcase what you're doing, etc. The freelance platform I already mentioned is here, but it might very well start sooner. Communicate with awarded teams. It's a rather small thing, so I'm not sure if we need to wait or we'll do that earlier. We now have a way to communicate with teams during the proposal creation and give feedback. That same feature will continue to be alive for awarded teams in the new setup. But I would like to start over again. I would keep the old discussion, but also have a clear division where you say, okay, here a new conversation start after the team has been awarded. Because it would still be interesting if you have a question to a team about their progress, or you think their solution could be helpful to you, or you could be helpful to their solution. It would be interesting to have those, to have at least a possibility for that kind of communication. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, black screen. That means we're done. Phew. I was hoping for more interruptions, but you were all so nice and quiet. I'm not sure if that is because I was so telling so interestingly, or if you all fell asleep, but we reached the end one way or another. Curtis.
I really loved the breakdown. Now, I noticed that there's some initiatives happening inside Deep Fund, like within the guilds and so forth, that line up with these objectives. How are those dots being connected? How is the funding going towards those initiatives? Yeah, I guess just there was a lot of line items in there that align with a lot of efforts being done. How can we connect it?
Great question. Thank you for asking. Well, there are basically two things here. Some things are deeply integrated in the WordPress platform that we use to build our proposal platform upon. And those things need to be under close collaboration with the current development team, who are only 2 people. At the beginning of the year, I started with 1 person, last year, I should say. I think around the summer or something, a second person started. So all the work that you will see on the website and on the portal has been done by this 1.5 person. So I would say that I'm quite impressed by what has been done already. But there's also more to do. So a lot of these things require deep integration and therefore also deep collaboration. So I think those things are not that suitable for RFPs. But if things can be disconnected or loosely coupled with the platform, then yeah, the more we can decentralize that work, the better it is. The platform, the marketplace, the jobs marketplace, as I call it, is a good example of that. That could be done quite separate. Well, there's some work has to be done for the team, because I would like to see it integrated in such a way that everybody who creates a new profile or has a new profile can just click on a button and then it will be published on that, their profile will be published on that platform. But still, I think the majority of the work is outside of the platform. Another possible area where a lot of work needs to be done is in the back office. And if we have that, well, first of all, that CSV export, and then hopefully later a cool API, then also all of that work could be done separately from the portal. And I would definitely expect an RFP or similar to be created for that. There are also some very early talks, but about having a kind of a fixed team working on this, but that needs to be explored a little bit further. Rojo, do you have any question, or do you have a remark related to this?
Yeah, one of the things that caught my attention is including probably like hosting the conversations in you know, in the website, in the website, which in my opinion is not very optimal technically wise, but we don't have a lot of people. But one thing that I remembered is I mean, Mindplex is released its Mastodon instance, and I was actually wondering, like, couldn't some of, if not most of the conversations around like these proposals be pushed into Mastodon, into, I mean, the Mindplex version of Mastodon, and then maybe based on their social metrics in that app, you know, kind of determine some scores based on that.
Okay, there are a couple of things here. The first thing is I didn't, in that whole architecture thing, I didn't mention the reputation system, but it's something that is supposed to be everywhere. And the Mindplex also has a reputation system, but right now it's a separate reputation system. So I'm not sure how that would feed into each other. So I hope we can make the Deep Funding reputation system or customer engagement score, community engagement score as generic as possible. And maybe actually Mindplex can plug into that. So that's from the reputation point of view. From the communication point of view, yeah, that is a possibility. I was actually thinking about a different possibility. We have Mattermost, you know it. We have 2 rings now in Mattermost. There's one ring, that's my term for it. It's just for people with a SingularityNET email address who are contractors. There's a second ring, which is invite only for people, for instance, awarded teams, but we are not yet inviting all proposers there, for instance, because that's a very varied club of people. So what I discussed today, actually, is to have a wide open ring that is public for everybody. And what I discussed a while ago is to have that ring, have a single sign-on that ring with our WordPress portal. So anybody would have, who would be logged in the WordPress website could very easily jump to that Mattermost ring and start a discussion there. So that was the direction I was thinking about. Let's leave it at that. But I'm open to ideas and suggestions. Discussions are currently, I think it's important to have the discussion where the proposal is and not to have the proposal in one place and then go to another place to discuss it. So a lot of feedback on the proposal itself would be on the WordPress side. I don't see that changing. But I can imagine there are meta discussions, or there will be, about the program, about exchanging learnings, etc., and whatever. And if we want to have everybody involved in that and not just awarded teams and etc., yeah, we could do that on. And right now we have Discord and Telegram. We could have a more dedicated space for that. Rojo.
I actually agree with you on the Mattermost point. And the reason why I mentioned whether it's Mastodon or Mattermost, they both share 2 beautiful things, which is they're both open source and they're both, let's say, mildly easier to query. compared to the solution that is built in-house. So the architecture is unknown. Like you have to have this 1.5 person doing development, figure out how they will query these messages and develop anything on top of it. And since you have other teams that are actually working on, how to deal with these contributions, it's a bit of a hustle, in my opinion. But I mean, obviously there will be conversations in there. But I was actually wondering like a possibility to include those. But again, conversation maybe for another day.
Yeah. So the API and the exports would make that data already much more accessible in two ways. We tried starting out with something from the shelf, which we were very enthusiastic about at first, but then development stopped. So also there are downsides. I know our brothers from Catalyst are not always that enthusiastic about their off-the-shelf solution. So there are downsides to whatever you do. Right now, I am extremely happy with the decision that we took very early last year to start working on something of ourselves, because now we have full agency and we can decide what features are important. This whole roadmap, we can decide upon it basically, and we can find ways to have it developed either in-house or by community teams, and I would love the latter really a lot. And we can make it in a way that fits our purpose. And if we want to build that community, I think that's very important. Curtis.
Not to circle back too far, but I think it relates to everything that was being said, where you have the objectives, the roadmap, and some of the priorities already listed out. You're deploying that through development and has been ongoing, and something we're noticing within incubation and currently the proposals we're working on, the funded proposals, that research and development and requirements sort of go hand in hand. And it kind of feels like what's happening is development is happening, and that's including half of the requirement set, that's coming from SingularityNET and what the Deep Fund needs. But then there's also the community within who are working to building out solutions for ourselves. So incubation is trying to solve the same problems and come up with solutions, but those aren't necessarily being communicated to the development side of the house, or maybe that's just my perspective. And I'm just looking towards how can we connect the set of requirements and how the development communication roadmap is being deployed.
Good point. One thing there is I was very happy with Rafael's initiative this week, but that's still limited to deep funding, but across all the circles to do an inventory, what people are using now, what they want to use, both in terms of processes and tools, so that we can align on that and make sure that as much as possible, we are working with the same processes, the same kind of output, which in turn will also make it easier to automate stuff at a later stage or already now. I understood that there's also an ambassador guild being created or has been created not that long ago on developers. So the way I understood it is that guild is more working specifically on ambassador things, but I would be very open. So actually all this backend stuff, there are two ways we can go about it basically. Either we can define them as RFPs and then have them developed by maybe multiple teams and ensure that they're all well connected and documented. Or we could somehow create a team, an in-house team ourselves, whether that's a guild or a circle or something else. And And that would give us more flexibility in the sense that if we have new insights, we can easier act on it. We can learn while doing, we can change it a little bit. We can continuously make small improvements. So to be honest, the second thing, and I think that's what you're also proposing, Curtis, if we have the proper team and the right conditions for such a team to work continuously on that back-end stuff, I would probably think that would be a better or more convenient solution than doing everything by RFPs, because you create an RFP based on assumptions and things that you think you need. But it might well be that 2 months on, and I've seen that in deep funding all the time, we're learning all the time, you will find out that actually you need something else or slightly different. And if we would have a dedicated in-house development team somehow, it would be easier to address these things and be really agile. So let's continue that conversation. I'm done, guys.
Yes, and we're coming up to the 2-hour mark. So I know it's also getting late
questions
for you. So, but yes, any questions and remarks and any more feedback, please share.
Or they're all asleep?
No, we're not asleep. We're just thinking through what you said. A lot has been said. So maybe I would just respond to your last conversation about the development. I think this also came up in our last call in the common circles. I wanted to have this discussion with Rojo. And so it's also a pointer that this is coming up, and then so probably I just want to say maybe we need to start putting an eye on this. Maybe there's a reason why this keeps popping up. So
yeah,
I wanted to start that discussion on the trade of water, to start building it in-house. Thinking of putting an eye on it.
Yeah, you weren't lying before when you said your connection was unstable. You are dropping away. So just when it got really exciting, you dropped away. So maybe we should continue this conversation outside this meeting. I think there are a few candidates who would like to work on things, and let's figure out together what would be the best way of shaping that and doing that, and for which kind of things, etc. I would love to be participating in that in any way I can. Probably by talking a lot.
All right, if there's no more remarks, and I'm gonna give you another chance. If you would like to say something, speak up now. If not, then I guess we can close it for today. Thank you so much for your presence, for your patience, for your active listening skills, and for your comments and remarks, of course, as well. And Jan, I am so impressed with your ability to present for 2 hours, when I think yesterday you said you're not even that sure what you're gonna say yet. And here we are 24 hours later, and you presented so beautifully and with so much detail what is going on. So thank you, Jan. And
well, thanks a lot, Judith, sorry. I didn't prepare this a lot, but I am almost full-time working on deep funding, and I'm thinking a lot about it. So yeah, it's good once in a while to put everything together. I wrote the blogs and then put it out here. And yeah, if you have any ideas, feedback, let it come coming either in Telegram or in the remark section below the blogs. I would love to see your input continuously coming. And thanks, Judith, for presenting and being here. You did a splendid job. Great to have you on the marketing team.
It's only been 1 week, but so I don't have an extensive track record with that yet. But we'll see.
Like Mauro was saying, I'm very impressed with the marketing team already. It's a very professional team and they're hugely ambitious, and you're an important part of that. So thank you. And all of you here, it's all about you. So couldn't do it without you, that's for sure. And have a nice evening, day, or wherever you are.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for attending, and we will see you hopefully next week for the listening session. And I'm going to stop the recording. I know it's getting late for some of you. Have a good night, a good afternoon, a good evening, wherever you are. And we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.